I live on my own, have my own car, make about $70,000 a year, and don't have any kids. So I'll never ask for what I can't offer. And as far as what I'm bringing to the table, I bring me, and you can't sit with it.
First off, studies don't reveal any bullshit about black women being the most educated and the most paid. The average black woman in America makes about $40K, and black women hold the least amount of PhDs, which is actually the metric that determines the most educated. Now, if she said black women hold the highest degrees in difficulty, undesirability, masculinity, obesity, and single motherhood rates, that would have been accurate.
Most dudes that I know who date outside their race, outside of our black race, were looked at as lames in the black community. And now he's dating a white woman, and you looking at him like, oh, it's so loud.
I've dated plenty of black girls before that were feminine and submissive and weren't a headache, but I've dated a lot, I've dealt with a lot that were headaches, and I've come to realize in that culture, unfortunately, it's championed to be strong and independent and not respect male authority.
Let me say this, and I don't want a single soul to challenge me on this. This is my experience. I love to give women compliments. I ain't no hater. 9 times out of 10, I will be met with a scowl. The woman might not even respond. If she does respond, it's like, thanks. So when I watch these men, I'm watching it with a different lens. I'm watching it with the lens of, hey, listen, I know what I encounter dealing with these women when I'm out just saying hi or whatever. And I see why men feel the way they do. Hello everyone, my name is Rogan and this is This Bahamian Gyal. On my platform, I do social commentary and reaction videos. I encourage my audience to have private conversations in public. Oh, by the way, if you like what I'm doing on this platform, you love my channel, then consider becoming a member. It's right down below. There are different tiers for you to choose from. You can also support this channel by watching a few of the ads that are placed during my content in their entirety. Watching 1 or 2 helps in a huge way. So let's jump right in. In today's episode, we are discussing black men who have washed their hands of black women. They say they are done. They're going to date outside of their race, and they cite a number of issues. One of the things that always comes up when you talk to black men is they feel like a lot of black women are very masculine. They're very emasculating. They think that their degree makes them higher than black men, and they just don't want to put up with bad attitudes. These are recurring themes that we've heard over and over on social media and in real life, and of course even in interviews on network television. I'm going to be discussing a number of things, why black men are walking away. I'm also going to be playing some of the videos from several men on YouTube who are just being very candid about why they don't date black women, and I'm going to give my personal take about why that is the case as well. So let's just jump right in.
Black women have to be honest about dating. If you want to find a man that has a degree with a respectable career, making 6 figures, owns a home, drives a nice car, not cheap, has family values, no baby moms, and no felony, you'll have to date outside your race. Now, the woman in this tweet is not wrong. However, there are 2 pertinent issues that she's failed to address. The first being that this isn't the typical standard criteria, qualities, or credentials that black women seek out in mates. We've seen the type of men that they lust after, copulate with, and reproduce with. We also see the type of men that they tend to reject, which just so happens to be many of the black men who would actually fit the criteria on this list. They'll walk around singing every good girl needs a little thug, every boy needs a little love. Not every queen needs a man with a degree, no felonies, or babies. And considering the fact that they're the least desired, least likely to get married, least likely to ever be married, least likely to get remarried, and have the highest rates of marriage instability, as well as the lowest interracial marriage rates, it's going to be extremely difficult. Because the overwhelming majority of men in other cultures do not want to deal with a black woman's attitude.
Now, I know a lot of women, black women, might get offended by what he said, but there was a lot of truth in that. One of the things I always want to say, because I feel like there are some black men who immediately jump up and say, oh, you're the least desirable of all the women, and you have the lowest marriage rates. Let me tell you something. I'm not interested in being married to someone just to be married to someone. If the person is not compatible, if they're not, to me, bringing anything into the relationship, or they're not right for me, I'm not rushing into anything. And I think a lot of black women feel the same way. So that I'm not that the statistics are incorrect. That's not the case. But I think that there are black men who like to lord that over black women, like, ha ha, nobody wants you. It goes both ways. Some women just don't want to deal with certain men, so they'd rather be by themselves. But I think it's important to focus on a lot of what he said, which was about, again, the attitudes of what they don't want to deal with. There are, and I've seen this so many times, even in my own friend circle, like there'd be wonderful guys well-to-do guys. And when I say well-to-do guys, I don't mean they're well off. They might be working a bank job. They might be working a government job. They may be working a private company job, but they're working hard. They're just not wealthy. And these are decent fellas who go to church, or, you know, they want to be home some evenings. They don't want to be out clubbing all the time. And I've seen like some of the women in my, who I know in my past circles, who would be like, I don't want to be boring and this, that, and the next. And I'm not saying you have to settle for a boring guy, but a lot of them are quick to just say, I don't want to be with that kind of guy. He's not as exciting to me. And when you look at the guys who they do go for, these are guys who, like, they're problematic. They give them drama. And it's like they get excitement from the drama. They don't get excitement from the stability of being with a good dude who doesn't have drama with a baby mother or violent or any of that stuff. And let me say, and I hate that I always have to say this on my channel, when we're having this discussion, it doesn't apply to every black woman. I don't even know every black woman on planet Earth. So obviously it's not going to apply to every black woman. I can say in my experience, when I encounter, of all the black women that I've encountered, that's when I would say the majority. But I'm not talking about as a whole, because I haven't spoken to every black woman. But I totally understand where a lot of these guys are coming from in that regard. Men get passed up all the time by black women because they feel like they're corny, or they're whack, or they're just not exciting and all that stuff. And then I see those same women will get upset when a black man starts dating a Filipina girl or a white girl, a Japanese girl, a Dominican girl, whatever. Like, they get super upset and like, you didn't want him, so what's the big deal here? We get upset when men keep saying we're difficult, we're difficult, we're difficult, we're difficult. It's just immediately dismissed. But I think at some point we have to kind of sit down and think about, are we being difficult? What are we doing that's giving everybody this impression? Maybe it is us. This is not something that just black men say. Let me just tell you, I'm always on social media. Even if I'm not posting, I'm like, you know, I sometimes go on different platforms, or I watch content from people. And if you go down in the comment section, because that's just where it's always at, right? I've seen people who identify as white men, because I can't see them unless they have up like their avatars of their actual photo. But I've seen white guys saying like, I don't want to deal with it. They just seem so mannish, or they seem so aggressive. Like, if I want to talk to one, like, it's just like, I have a hard time. And you know what the black women in the comment section, some of them will say? Oh, it's not my fault that you are scared to approach us, or you need to man up to approach us. And it's like, you're missing the entire point. If you're making it extremely difficult for someone to want to even approach you, why should they even go through the headache? That's just a precursor of what they're going to expect in the future. Let me say this, and I don't want a single soul to challenge me on this. This is my experience. I'm a woman. I love to give women compliments. I ain't no hater. If I see a woman who looks good, I will say, oh my God, ma'am, you're so beautiful. Or I love your, don't let it be some big hair. Like, I love big afro hair. Like, I go crazy for that, right? So if I see a black girl with natural hair, I'm like, your hair is so pretty. Like, what do you use? Da, 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 da. If you smell good, I'm going to tell you smell good. I want to know what it is, because I'm going to buy my perfume. I'm just saying, if I see you look good from head to toe, whatever, I'm going to tell you. As a woman, I'm going to tell you that. 9 times out of 10. And let me qualify this. This is in the States. This is not in the Bahamas, where I'm from. This is in the States. 9 times out of 10, I will be met with a scowl. The woman might not even respond. If she does respond, it's like, thanks. Like, I owed her the compliment, or, you know. I remember one time I was in a store, and this lady, she was so pretty, and everything on her was just like banging. I'm not even kidding. Like, her hair looked good, her makeup looked good. I was like, oh my God, you look so nice. I said, I like the way you're put together and everything. Her boyfriend, who was black, was standing there, and he was just like, and he put his hand on his chest, like, you know, to say thanks, you know. And the girl was like, thanks. And she just was like, went back to what she was doing. I was just like, wow. And the guy looked at me, and he did his face like to say, like, I'm sorry. Like, you know, he didn't mouth it, he didn't say it, but he just kind of like, he looked at her and he looked at me like, you know, like, and I was just like, and I just walked off. It gets to the point where I second guess saying to another black woman, you look beautiful, you look great. Because, and this has been my experience 9 times out of 10. If I talk to 30 women, if I tell 30 women they look good, you better believe 3 of them have responded favorably in return. And I don't get it. And it's like, as a woman, I don't even want you. I don't even want you in that way. I just telling you look nice. And it's so hard for me to say you look nice. You can't even, you're not even willing to even like respond favorably. Or even if you're just saying thank you, it's just the way you say it. It's always with a scowl. So when I watch these men, I'm watching it with a different lens. I'm watching it with the lens of, hey, listen, I know what I encounter dealing with these women when I'm out just saying hi or whatever. And I see why men feel the way they do. And it's a lot of work that we as Black women have to do. It is extremely difficult for a lot of men to approach women. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, gray, green. It does not matter. It is very difficult for them to approach women. And because we're so used to being pursued and having that upper hand, we feel that we can say and do whatever we want and be disrespectful. And it's not cool. So when I hear these men, I'm not quick to dismiss. Now, there are some men who just go too far. That's life. But when these men are saying, hey, y'all just too much drama and all that stuff, we really need to be listening. Let's go to the next video. Listen for the recurring theme, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
It appears that a lot of Black men who do well financially, they tend to gravitate towards non-Black women. But the reason why Black women are complaining about the Black men who date non-Black women is because it's that top 6%. And the reasons are obvious, because the average Black woman as a collective, they're uncooperative, they're masculine. Even beautiful Black women are masculine. And dude, we ain't trying to put up with that, man.
Wow. Again, this recurring theme of women being masculine and uncooperative. Is every Black woman uncooperative and masculine? No. I think that masculine energy comes from somewhere. And here's where I think it comes from. You have a lot of women who are being reared in homes without their fathers there. I was one of those people who was raised in a home, a single parent household. So I didn't have my father in the house. Luckily, I had access to uncles and other people, other men who were there to kind of like guide me. But a lot of women don't have that. And so they're used to seeing their mothers be the mummy and the daddy. And as a result, a lot of them, this is my take on this. You can have your own take. I don't, that's your choice. I don't care. But I find that a lot of them are so accustomed to seeing their mothers doing the work of a woman and a man that they emulate that sort of stuff. And then it becomes this thing where it's like, I don't need a man to do that stuff. Now, I don't go around saying I don't need a man to do it, but you show it through your actions, right? When a man offers to do something, you say, I got it. Oh, I do this. I'm guilty of it myself. I'm not even going to lie to you, because I'm so used to taking care of myself that when a man does come along, it's difficult to accept whatever he's giving, because it's like I could just do it myself. But now I've had to learn, like, fall back. Because to be honest with you, I'm a modern woman, but I'm very traditional. So I want you to take care of these things. It's just something in me that just naturally kicks in and says, no, I can just do this myself, or I have to do it myself. But I think that's where that energy comes from, because women have had to do it. And whose fault is that? I feel like it's the fault of the man who was not in the household. If the man was not in the home to show a woman, like, hey, this is my role as the man to take care of these things so your mother can be okay, then she's going to grow up emulating what she sees, which is the mother who is being both mom and dad. So I think those things are very important. And I want to also add again that this is not all Black women. I know a lot of soft, feminine Black women who are very traditional, not traditional and modern, just very traditional. They let the men handle whatever, and they're out there. It's just, you got to kind of look you have to consider what circle you're looking in if you're just finding these same type of women. So let's go to the next video. I never thought in a million years I would agree with this guy. I've been so critical of him on my channel. None other than Myron Gaines from FreshNFit. But I want to play this video because it explains a lot. I think one of the girls asked him a question as to why he doesn't date Black women. Because a lot of people say, oh, Myron doesn't date Black women. This is his explanation. Let's go.
First question was, how do I feel about Black women? And to answer that, the reason why I don't date them a lot of the times isn't necessarily because of the way that they look. It's because a lot of the behaviors that's championed in that community. Now, with that said, I've dated plenty of Black girls before that were feminine and submissive and weren't a headache, but I've dated a lot, I've dealt with a lot that were headaches, and I've come to realize in that culture, unfortunately, it's championed to be strong and independent and not respect male authority in the Black community, because a lot of them are fatherless, and since they're fatherless, they don't have that masculine authority to let them know, hey, you need to follow a man's lead. Women, a lot of the times from Black communities, unfortunately, grew up in a single mother household where she tells them, then she has a sister that says, the music perpetuates,
Like I
and then
said,
what
trauma.
ends up happening is they grow up and then they don't have a general respect for men. And then they meet you, and then you get a lot of those toxic traits coming into you because they weren't naturally taught how to be a lady. They were very masculinized since birth because they didn't have a man figure.
Wait, let me just tell them this. Let me just say this. You're absolutely right.
I love how the video just cuts after. It's like, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's all we need to hear. I want to point out, listen, without me even hearing Myron's take, that was my take. And I say this as somebody, again, who grew up in a single parent household. I honestly think that is the genesis of it. I'm not a psychiatrist, a psychologist. I'm sure some of you in the comment section might be. If you ain't, then you in the same position I am. But that's just my take on it. And I was 100% in agreement with Myron of all people. Jesus. Yes, I was 100% in agreement with him on that. And what really bothered me is if you just paid attention to the video, the women, they weren't listening to understand what he was saying. They were listening to respond because they kept trying to interrupt him. And I totally understand, you know, sometimes you hear someone saying something that you totally disagree with and you just want to jump in. But again, taking the time to just listen to what he had to say. And he says, I had no issue with dating black women. I've dated black women in the past. But what I found is they bring a masculine energy. They are headaches. You know, I don't want to deal with that. Again, there's this recurring theme. There's not much for me to add to that video because honestly, I 100% agree with you, Mr. Gaines. But for a lot of guys who I know who are in an interracial relationship, they say it has nothing to do with the looks or me thinking that a white woman or an Asian woman is superior. Really, it just comes down sometimes to the cultural differences. I don't think you should just say you're going to give up on an entire race of women. I think that's just silly to me because every woman is not the same. And if you are that type of person who's like, no, I'm done from dealing with black women entirely because I had 5 experiences with them, then you know what, go in peace and serve the Lord. Because that is a dumb reason in my estimation to just be like, I'm not dating any more women of that race. That's just stupid. We cannot ignore the fact, at least I won't ignore the fact that there are some black men who are interested in white women just because, and I've heard them say this before, they're looking out for their future. And I'm like, you're looking out for your future? What are you talking about? Well, I want kids. And I've heard black men say this. I don't want no dark-skinned baby. I don't want no nappy hair baby. Like, wow. There was a guy back home who said this especially. He said this a lot of, like many times. So he ended up dating and marrying a white girl, a white woman. And they had children. Their children came out looking fully black because his genes were super strong. The children had kinky hair and darker skin. It looked like he had children with a black woman. And I know he was pissed because he thought he was going to escape from this. That's exactly what he got. And I guess he did it several times hoping for a different outcome. But all of the children favor him. Something to consider. Let's go to the next video.
What's your age?
So your mom should have told you don't ask a female how old she is.
Why is that a problem though?
Let me stop right here. Immediately, as a woman, I'm already turned off by this. Like just how she came out the gate. Let me rewind that. Just watch the whole body language, y'all. Watch the whole body language on this one and just follow. I was just bothered by her response real quick. I don't know. She's just like, your mom didn't tell, like, what you trying to say? The man, mother didn't raise him right? Let's go.
What's your age?
So your mom should have told you don't ask a female how old she is.
Why is that a problem though?
Because I'm old.
You're not old. You're seasoned. You're vintage.
Okay, I'm 34.
And you?
33.
That's not even old. What is she talking about?
Are you ladies single?
I'm very much single.
Single now.
Do you feel like dating is more challenging as a black woman than it would to be any woman of a lighter skin tone?
Nope. Because I get Caucasian men, I get Asian men, I get...
Did she say Caucasian? I didn't know that was on the census. Caucasian.
Because I get Caucasian men, I get Asian men, I get African American men, I get all types of different ethnic groups that's willing to take care of me and be my significant other or a husband or boyfriend, but I don't condone to it because I know what I want. I know what I was raised to accept, and I have not met that guy yet.
You don't condone to what? What is this gal talking about? You don't condone to it. You get all these men hitting you up, Caucasian men, black men, Asian men, and of all these men who allegedly hitting you up, not a one of them was willing to just date you. So you're single. Oh, wait, no, you said you chose not to because you don't condone to it. What does that mean? What do you don't condone to? That doesn't make sense grammatically.
A husband or boyfriend, but I don't condone to it because I know what I want. I know what I was raised to accept, and I have not met that guy yet.
All the hand gestures, it's too much interpretive dancing going on in here. I feel like I'm in a Baptist church, okay? The body language and the hand gestures, she could be the sweetest person ever, but I'm telling you, on her first, like just watching it, I don't condone to it, and I don't all that stuff. I'm like, just I'm watching. If I were a guy, I'd be like, nah. The other girl seems more feminine. Let's see. I'm sorry to keep stopping it, but
I do think in this society sometimes it does present a little bit of challenges. I haven't had many because I have had a very successful, very long marriage at a point, and I love black men. I just don't know if they love.
The second girl had more feminine energy. I know I'm going to get like destroyed in the comment section from a lot of the women saying I'm judgmental. If I were a man watching this, I would be more gravitating towards the other girl. Just in that short little snippet, she just seemed more palatable. Let's hear what this guy, who's this? Derrick Jaxn. Let's see what Derrick Jaxn has to say. Let's go.
You know, for a while now, some black men have said how they prefer to date white women or foreign women or Hispanic women or whatever, which is cool. For all I care, you can prefer to date polka dot women. As a man, my only request is that you leave black sisters out of your ignorance. Whatever stereotypes about how they look, how they act, or whatever, man, keep that bullshit to yourself. Your views on black women aren't valid because of experiences you've had with one or two that maybe broke your heart or bruised your ego. And chances are, if you're coming from that place of self-hatred, you brought the worst out of them anyway. Or maybe, bro, you just don't know how to choose them. I think it's funny how we'll blame women for choosing men that ain't shit, but as soon as you get a woman that does you dirty, all black women are the problem. Now, unfortunately for you, it's not against the law to be stupid, so you have every right to miss out on damn good women because of some misguided preconception of them. But here's a thought. The very same black women that you slander includes the women who held it down while you struggled to get a job in a society that doesn't want to hire you, or that led marches for you when police killed you while you was unarmed. More importantly, it includes the woman who gave birth to you, who probably grew up hearing the same you're talking about other black women being said about herself. Don't get me wrong, I'm for interracial love the same way I'm for black love. But what I'm not for is tearing down a group of women who've done nothing but build us up for years.
He said a lot that I agreed with. On the point about stereotypes, stereotypes are, they don't come out of nowhere. Stereotypes are there for a reason because a lot of times, a lot of the things that are said are true. To his point, though, about, again, men who might just date a small group of women and determining that I don't date any women because of this, I 100% agree with him. I think it's unfair. I certainly would never, I don't care if I date 3 white men and I've had bad experiences with 3 white men. 3 white men does not a globe make. White men are all over the world. So I'm going to say, I'm going to close the door on dating white men because 3 white men were jerks. 3 white men that I dated were jerks. No, I think one of the things that some black men need to take accountability for is the fact that they just choose poorly. They choose the wrong women. I don't like using terms like high value and low value because everybody has value. But there are some women who are just classless. There are some women who are just toxic or problematic. And I've heard men say, yeah, she brings drama, but you know, she's exciting. Or the sex is good because, you know, she's just so, you know, aggressive and she's so this, she's so that. Well, you got to take that right there, what you love, that comes along with this. So for me, don't paint an entire group of women with the same brush because you chose poorly. You made those choices. It's very rare that a man will go and date a woman who has barely a high school education and is not that mature mentally. And next week he's dating a woman who has a PhD from Harvard. That just doesn't happen. If it does, it's rare as hell. Let me also say that there are some black men who want a woman who is submissive and docile, but they don't give them the space to be submissive. And what do I mean? If you are not a leader, you can't expect for me to follow you. You have to show me leadership qualities. You have to show me that you can be trusted. You have to show me that you can be depended upon. And that way I can let go and let you do what you have to do. A lot of times, Black women, and we get such bad reputations, but we have to deal with boys. Emotionally, mentally, they're just not, they're not there. And they expect for women to fall in line. And they're not going to. So when a Black woman says, listen, there's nothing you can do for me, it's because you've demonstrated that you can't do anything for her. A lot of them come from fatherless homes, and they're used to doing things on their own. And then they meet someone who says, listen, you need to take your hands off the steering wheel and let me drive. And then when you look over in the driver's seat, their eyes are closed and their hands are by their sides. It's like, so you got to grab the steering wheel all over again. It's like, I might as well drive this car my damn self if I got to depend on you. So the anger and the frustration that a lot of Black women go through, it don't just come out of nowhere. There is a genesis, there is a nexus for everything that they are and what they do and how they react. These responses don't just come out of thin air. Let's go to the next one.
Most dudes that I know who date outside their race, outside of our Black race, were looked at as lames in the Black community.
Yeah.
It wasn't a situation where it's like, okay, now I grew up aspiring to be with a white woman. What the story is typically I grew up, I was in my Black neighborhood, I didn't fit in, the women didn't want me, I would shoot my shot and they would curve me over and over and over again. But then when I went to talk to this white girl, she was vibing with me and we just picked it up and then went from there. So now I date white women now. But it's not a situation where it's like, oh no, I was bred, I was taught since young, and oh no, I want to be the white woman. Black woman, hell no, I'm good. Now, when the same dude, that nerd who was lame in the neighborhood, you wasn't given no opportunity. Hell no, I don't want to go on no date. Just get away from me. The same dude 15 years later is a multimillionaire. And now he's dating a white woman and you looking at him like, oh, it's sold out.
Oh, that is something that is like one of my biggest pet peeves. One of my biggest pet peeves. He doesn't even have to be a multimillionaire. He can be successful in his own right. Because, success doesn't always just come with money, But it's like the minute that person moves to the next level, and if they are with someone who was willing to be with them when they didn't have anything, or when they, when nobody wanted them, now all of a sudden it's he's a sellout. I hear that so often, and it always bothers me because it's like, you didn't want him. You didn't want him. So somebody else wanted him, and now he became something great, and now you want to call this dude a sellout? We need to get past this foolishness about someone being corny. I mean, yes, there are people who you might not be compatible with, but getting good grades in school is not corny. Not having a bunch of illegitimate children is not corny. Having a great job is not corny. Saying that you want to go to school is not corny. Or going to school and getting your degree is not corny. Like, if that's corny for y'all, like that's winning for me. So I totally get where he's coming from. A lot of guys, and I know a lot of, I've met a lot of people in my day, and I've had Black guys, especially Black guys who have like very pronounced Black features, big lips, broad noses, their faces just, they look Black. They are Black, but they look, you know what I mean? When I say some Black men have more European features, but a Black man with like the prominent features, a lot of Black girls weren't feeling them. I don't want no big, don't be dark skin. Oh God, don't be dark skin. You got big nose, big lips, and you Black? You, not Black, you Black. They ain't want you. But the minute a white girl is interested in, and she's like, I don't care. I love his big juicy lips. I like his nose. I love his dark skin. Oh, I love his skin. Then it's like, oh, you sold out. Girl, bye. Listen, the purpose of this video was not to dog Black men or Black women. It really was just to have the conversation. This is a conversation that we'll probably have for many, many generations. I mean, you and I will be long gone. But I don't think it'll ever stop. But I do think that introspection is required. I think we do need to, if you care. If you don't care, then continue as you are. But don't complain when a man doesn't want to date you. Don't complain when he looks outside of his community to date. Don't get mad when he says, these are the reasons why I don't date Black women. I've heard some Black women say, oh, these men, they just can't handle me. They're easily intimidated by me. Ma'am, if you are coming across aggressively, you're being toxic, you're being nasty, you're being belligerent. If you're doing all of that, who isn't going to be intimidated by that? I don't feel great that if a man says he feels intimidated by me, that means I need to do some course correction, because that's not a good feeling for somebody to feel like I'm intimidated by you. That's not a boss move, not for me. So rather than us saying, oh, maybe I'm giving off something that's making it hard for a man to approach us, we just go, well, he must be the problem because he's intimidated. He needs to man up. Maybe you need to woman up. Anyway, so my questions of the day are, have you noticed a big difference between dating a black woman? For those of you who have been in interracial relationships, I've never been in an interracial relationship, so I don't know what it's like. I don't. But for anybody, I suppose, who's been in an interracial relationship with a black woman and a white woman or an Asian woman or a non-black woman, whomever, have you noticed any significant differences between the two? I'm really interested to know, because I'm sure that there are going to be men who say, listen, I've dated black women and had 0 issues. I've dated white women and had plenty issues. Let me also add in here that white women ain't perfect. They bring their drama too, and they're nagging too. So let's not forget that for 1 minute. Drop your comments down below, guys. Thanks for watching. I know this was a long video, but I think it's a necessary conversation, and I am looking forward to hearing what everybody has to say. Attack the argument, not the host. That's more productive. To the men out there who say they are done with black women, I can't stop you from, dating whoever you want to date. You are free to do so. But for the men out there who still have open minds about it, know that every woman is not the same. Not all black women are the same, and not all black women are toxic and naggy and mean-spirited. A lot of black women are so supportive and so loving and so caring, and will definitely hold you down during some very difficult times. We definitely show up. Every black woman, no, but the ones I know, super supportive, and they show up. Anyway, drop your comments down below. I will see you guys next week. I love you. Bye.